everyone. Can you hear me okay? So I'm just going to do a little bit of an introduction about who I am and why you're listening to me at the moment. My background is criminal defence. I was a criminal defence lawyer for about 10 years. And during that period, I ended up working for a drugs and human rights charity called Release. You may have heard of Release. They are the National Centre of Expertise on Drugs and Drugs Law. And that's where my interest in drug policy started. So when I joined Mackrell Turner Garrett about 2.5 years ago, it was an idea I'd been playing around with. And I decided to pitch it to the partners. I said, I want to set up a cannabis law department. The timing of it was very good. We have some US and Canadian partner firms that are currently doing huge amounts of cannabis work over there. And so the firm said, okay, go ahead, let's do it. So we are the first cannabis law department in the UK. There will be other cannabis lawyers who are coming at it from a sort of capital markets point of view, mergers and acquisitions. But we are the first dedicated department in the UK dealing just with cannabis law. We launched in the summer last year, and we hard launched in January, and it's picked up, and now I am working full-time on cannabis. So what I'm going to be talking to you about today is a couple of issues that we have seen our clients struggling with in the industry. Hopefully this will give you a bit of an insight as to the legal challenges that are currently facing businesses acting in the CBD sector, and also help you find a route through to a solution, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what we want to do, provide solutions to business. And yes, I'm sure you've been talking about novel food all weekend, so I will be going through what I believe is the current novel food situation and detailing the strategy that's in place at present to deal with this issue that faces the whole industry. I don't know how many of you actually are growers here in the UK or would consider applying for a Home Office licence. What we have seen from our own clients is that the application is not that onerous compared to some types of application, but if you were granted a licence by the Home Office to grow hemp in the UK, they will impose a number of special conditions upon you. The most important part that they are concerned about is the location of where the grow is going to take place. And that comes down to security. What they don't like is biomass being produced in one area and then being transported to another area for extraction for manufacturing. So most Home Office licenses will insist that the extraction facility is placed on the same site as the grow site, so that the biomass can be taken straight from the plants can be retted on site, and the extraction can take place immediately. Now, one of the problems with the UK Home Office license is that the parts of the plant that you're allowed to extract from is extremely limited. You have stems, stalks, seeds, and all of the good stuff has to be thrown away. And in fact, the Home Office licenses are stipulating that the flower material, the bud, has to be destroyed beyond recovery. This is a problem because you're throwing away more than half the plant. And it's very, frustrating for businesses who are not able to use that material to extract. Now, another issue I know has been talked about a lot this weekend is whether hemp bud is actually legal to sell. I'm sure everyone has different opinions on that. My view is it's not. The reason being is the Home Office clearly puts this restriction on which part of the plant you can use because that's their intention. They do not want the bud and the flower from the hemp plant being sold, being used for extraction. Just because I'm a lawyer doesn't mean my opinion is worth any more than yours, and I'm happy to debate it if you think you have a different take on it, but that's my professional view at the moment, is that the sale of hemp bud is not lawful in the UK. In terms of how does that affect your business, so if you're looking to enter the CBD business and you wanted to build a grow facility, I would probably suggest to you that it would be better to seek a grow facility perhaps overseas in another EU country or even further afield. It's much easier to obtain licenses to grow these types of plants overseas. They have a much less restrictive regime. You can use the whole plant, you can do your extraction there, and then you can import your product into the UK, and you might find that that is economically more viable. But that also brings another challenge, is importing your product into the UK. And we are dealing with a number of businesses at the moment who are having problems with the border agency. If you are shipping in your product from overseas and it gets held up by the border agency, our firm is taking us at the moment around 6 to 8 weeks to get these shipments released. If you are a business that is depending on these shipments coming in a timely fashion so that you can make your products and get them on the market, a 6 to 8 week delay is a big problem. Where we've seen the issues arise is labelling, lading bills, businesses trying to take shortcuts with the documentation that they're providing on their shipping. The border agency is not well trained in these products. So if they have any suspicion that this product may not be compliant, they are going to stop it. What we've seen is also some companies who are exporting to the UK, they are sending free samples of other products for their client to try. It can even be those free samples that aren't compliant, and that's what's causing the border agency to stop the shipment. So make sure you've got your lab reports, make sure that they are clearly stated on your shipments along with the correct lading bills. We can give you best practice advice if you are having problems with getting your shipments into the UK. The other option is, and I've seen a company here that do this, there is a company that is shipping their products wholesale into the UK and you can buy it from them wholesale. That takes out the difficulty for you. They will deal with the importation issues for you and you can buy straight from them. So that's a good option if you don't want to get into problems with shipping products in. You then have the issues once you've got your raw material here and you are making your products. We are having a number of inquiries about how we can market these products, okay? So you know the issues with the MHRA back in 2016, they took an interest in the CBD industry. An agreement was reached whereby they wouldn't get involved as long as no medicinal claims were being made. Now what constitutes a medicinal claim? A sleep aid, anxiety, relaxation, all of these types of promises are perfectly legal. Once you start getting into the region of anti-inflammatory, pain-killing, that kind of thing, then you're going to start running into problems, because that could be considered a medicinal claim. So I think that's another issue we are seeing. We've got a lot of customers wanting to market their products and coming to us on a case-by-case basis asking, can we market it in this way? Can we market it in that way? And there's a lot of companies out there that are being particularly innovative in changing their marketing methods in order to get their products on the market and be compliant. One issue that we are seeing a lot of traffic on is CBD products for pets. Now, at the moment, it is unlawful to market CBD products for pets in the UK. You would need a marketing authorization from the Veterinary Medicines Directorate. Now, this is a really interesting inconsistency in the legal approaches of the regulatory bodies. So it's legal to market CBD in the UK for humans, but it's not legal to market CBD products for pets in the UK because the VMD has treated it as a medicine. You need marketing authorization for a medicine and it can only be prescribed by a vet. This inconsistency, I believe, is ripe for a challenge. The problem is, CBD products for pets, there isn't a great deal of data behind it. There's a huge amount of anecdotal evidence available. I don't know if you're aware, but in the US, CBD products for pets is a massive market. I'm not a pet owner, I'm sure many of you are. People spend crazy money on their pets. You know, they treat their pets like their children. So this market is huge. I didn't know that anxiety in dogs is a real thing. Separation anxiety, when people are going on holiday and leaving their dogs in the kennel, it doesn't just apply to domestic pets. You've got horses being transported, you've got livestock. This is a massive, massive market. And it seems a shame that the VMD has taken this position and won't allow these products to be marketed in the UK at present. So what can we do about that? Well, we are currently instructed to try and challenge the VMD's position. They're digging their heels in at the moment, but we are going to try and offer some sort of regulatory regime whereby they can be satisfied that only quality products are being marketed, and that the type of marketing being made is, again, not making any medicinal claims. We've had one client in particular ask if he can market his products online with a dog on the box, but not actually say that it's for pets. Or another suggestion was, could we market it for your furry friend? I think you're going to fall into issues, and I would probably say your products are not compliant if you are trying to subtly take that approach in order to get your products out there. But on a case-by-case basis, we can assist you with that, but hopefully there will be a change in the VMD's position quite soon. You then have the issue with vaping. Now, vaping is not ingestion, it is considered inhalation. So there is a discussion over where does vaping regulation come from. You obviously have the Tobacco Products Directive, which deals with vaping in the UK. That doesn't apply to CBD vaping because it's specifically in place for products which contain nicotine. Most CBD vaping products don't contain nicotine, so it doesn't fall into that category of regulation. It doesn't fall into the food supplement regulation because it's not being ingested, it's being inhaled. How to deal with that is it's a fairly common sense approach at the moment. Most lawyers will take the view that vaping will have to be governed by food supplement law. Although ingestion and inhalation are different, you would be wise to, if you're producing vaping products, to stick to the same regulations that you would use if you were producing products for ingestion. Another big issue facing CBD businesses in the UK is banking. I don't know if any of you are having problems obtaining banking services, business banking services, card payment services. Now, I was in the US in December. We took a week in Las Vegas and Denver to go and investigate the cannabis industry over there and bring some of that knowledge back to the UK. What was interesting, in Las Vegas, I went to a dispensary and I had to pay for my products in cash. This is a business that has been around for 8 years and they still don't have payment providers who will accept card payments. You had to pay in cash. And that is because in the US they have this battle between state law and federal law. Most banks and most payment services providers won't give their services because they are worried they'll be in breach of federal law. So interestingly enough, I was told that one of the biggest and most lucrative operations in Nevada at the moment is secure storage for cash. You have businesses in the UK who are generating huge amounts of cash and they just don't know what to do with it. So you can build a secure warehouse, add a whole bunch of security in it, and these businesses will pay you a huge amount of money to store their cash for them. What was interesting is on a state-by-state basis, there are big differences. So when we went to Denver in Colorado, I went to a dispensary and I was able to pay using my card, but they had developed an interesting system whereby rather than paying directly for the products, I was buying a gift card. The gift card costs $5. I can load it up with as much money as I want, and then I can use that gift card to pay for their products. So you pay $105, you've got a card now with $100 on it, you can spend that on whatever products you want within the dispensary. And on my bank statement it came up as gift card payment. So that's how they were able to circumvent this issue with federal law. If you compare that to the UK, we don't have that similar battle between state law and federal law. The reason that UK businesses will find it difficult to obtain business banking services and to obtain card payment services is because this industry is still considered a risk sector. Okay, thank you. We have clients come to us with this issue, and my firm has great connections within the banking industry in London. When we started out, I told them, don't worry, we'll sort that out for you. We'll get in touch with some of our contacts. We'll get you the business banking services you need straight away. We sent them to our very close contacts in the banking industry. They turned them flat down. And that reflects badly on me because I'd made all these promises saying we can sort it out for you. We engaged with the bank, we took it to a high level. I was complaining like hell, and they just came back and said, we have no appetite for this sector. I said, what's the concern? They said, well, we think she's going to breach the regulations. And I said, the regulations that I've just given her advice on how not to breach. And they said, sorry. So there are people out there, there are bank facilities out there that are now looking at the sector with interest, because I think turning down business in the sector is incredibly short-sighted. So that's something we can also help you with. If you are having difficulties in obtaining those kind of services, come and see us, and then we can put you in touch with the right people. Now, novel food, it is a problem. It is something that the industry needs to address as a whole. The best advice I can give you at the moment is I don't think there's going to be any immediate enforcement by the domestic regulators, but it does need a challenge. And my firm is currently formally instructed by the Cannabis Trades Association to take their challenge on, both to the FSA here in the UK and also the European Food Safety Authority in Brussels. And we have instructed the UK's premier food standards barrister to provide us with some advice on this issue. It's an interesting legal point that the EFSA novel food catalogue is advisory only. It is not legally binding. So in fact, if you wanted to challenge their decision to classify CBD as novel in the European courts, you can't. They will tell you it's advisory. So the issue then comes back to the domestic regulator, to the Food Standards Authority, to see whether they're going to enforce. If they do choose to enforce, that would be a legally binding decision, which then could be challenged in the UK courts. So at the moment, from what I can see, the FSA here aren't really interested in enforcing. They don't agree with the EFSA position, and I think the decision from the EFSA caught them on the hop quite a lot as well. So although enforcement is an issue, and I think people would be right to be concerned about it, I don't think there's going to be any significant rollout of enforcement in the next 12 to 18 months. I think the FSA will wait and see how the discussions with the EFSA go, and I think this is going to rumble on for another 12 to 18 months. But there are people in the industry who are keen to take on the challenge and try and get a decision whereby there's regulation to make sure that there are quality products available for people, but that the industry can keep going in the direction that it has been. Just finally, I actually represent a company who was enforced against in the UK. They received a stop notice from Islington Council based on the novel food decision. I think it's one of the first stop notices that has been issued. It was a small business, a new business, didn't have the funds to go all the way to a full challenge. We were able to negotiate a settlement whereby she could continue trading, but she had to make some very, very substantial changes to the products and the marketing, which to my mind was unsatisfactory, but it was the only short-term fix that we were able to achieve. So again, I don't think you'll see too many enforcement notices in the near future, but you can't rule it out. So it is something that the whole industry should be concerned about. Now's your chance to try and get some free advice. So if you have any questions that you want to put my way, then please go ahead.
So I'm going to limit the questions because of time. Robert's going to hang around at the stage. I suspect he'll probably hang around near the CTA stand at the back here. If you'd like to come and see him and address any questions, because I suspect you've got lots of questions for him. If you'd like to take a moment, then please put your hands together for Robert Jappie. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.